7-year switch is back with 4 new couples trying to shake up but also save their marriage. I know that sounds interesting to you guys, so keep it here. We're talking all things the premiere and the rest of season 3 right here on AfterBuzz TV.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
She say, do you love me? I tell her only partly. I only love my bed and my mom. I'm sorry. 50
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is enough of our dance break to God's plan because we have so much to talk about. 7-year switch is back on a new network. I am your host, Caroline Fair, and I have so many lovely co-hosts with me today. I'm going to throw it to the couch right now. Who do we got over there?
Hi guys, it's Haley Catino.
And Mackenzie Faye.
I'm so pretty. I'm Sean Paul Payton.
Hello, I'm Ashley Lauren.
All right, guys, we are going to be talking all things the first episode, which is called Switch Perfect. I'm not sure these switches are perfect, but we're going to get into that. We are going to be talking all things the couples, the experts, and the actual switcheroos themselves, which I'm pretty excited to see how it plays out on the show. But what are your guys' overall thoughts of the first episode? How are we digging these couples on this season?
Oh my god. Just like, I loved that.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on? Like,
it's a little bit crazy, right?
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, if we're going to be honest, I could never do something like this, but I mean, it was so entertaining to watch, and it's going to be super fun to see how the season unravels and how these couples work out.
Yeah, when I was watching this, like I kept saying it, I would only do this if I was ready to move on. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Make or break for sure.
Yeah,
it definitely
yeah.
is like the final thing you do, but I love it.
I think they use that line maybe 5 or 6 times throughout the episode.
Well, they always say, well, we're going to do anything and we're willing to do anything to save our marriage.
Which I love. I love that.
But I don't understand. I just don't understand it. Like,
But it's a very interesting concept.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I'm going to enjoy watching this. This is going to be very interesting.
These 4 couples are all very different. I would say that they're all kind of struggling from intimacy issues. But let's get into our first topic, which is going by couple, breakdown by breakdown. So first we have Kenya and Charles. And Kenya and Charles have been together for actually 12 years, but they've been married for 10. They're from Dallas, Texas, and they, originally bonded on their Christian values, but then Charles had the audacity to go and cheat on his girl, Kenya. And I am not here for that.
His free spirit was too free.
It was.
Yeah, too free. Too free.
It totally was. It was so sad. When they said that, us 3 watched together and we were like, oh my God. It was just so sad. And you can tell she's like, I don't really know what to do in the situation. I want to stay with him, but he cheated. And he's just like, they said, what happened in your relationship? What's going on? And they're like, infidelity. And they're like, well, who cheated? He's like, me. That's me. There you go.
Just so immature. Like,
yeah.
what?
He was like so happy to tell the world that. It was crazy.
Yeah, I think the experts were quick to note, though, that he was a little bit embarrassed. I mean, if you cheated on your wife, that's not something...
You can't unring that bell, so I guess you have to accept and move on or figure out a way to take the next step, such as going the show.
Yeah, no, he said he was embarrassed, but like he did not seem embarrassed. Like we were looking, he was like,
He was just smiling and giddy in the whole episode.
I feel like he has a little bit of he's like starstruck almost now that he's on TV.
Oh, that's a good point. We didn't think of that.
Yeah, you never know. Okay, well then we have Anthony, Tony, and Angela, and they've been together for, as he said, 6.5 years. It's actually been 5.5, Tony, and they've been together for a little over 7, and they are, a sweet couple from Virginia, but I guess, according to Angela, lovers are not from Virginia because she is not feeling the love with her Navy veteran husband, Tony, who's just like all into the work and, for lack of a better term, no play.
Who's married to... He's married to her, but engaged to his work.
Yeah, I liked that.
I really did like
that.
it.
Good soundbite.
Yeah, so I think that is going to be an interesting relationship because now Tony is going to be with Kenya and then Charles is going to be with Angela. And then moving on, we have Rosalind and Bobby, who have been together for actually a really long time, 11 years, only 6 married though, and they are definitely suffering from some both emotional and physical intimacy issues.
Right.
And you can really tell that's weighing on Rosalind. And I'm sad for her because in the previews, it really looks like her husband Bobby, his eyes are drifting a little. They're
he's like detached.
He's pretty into the girl that he gets paired up with. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so too. Exactly what you said. I mean, and it's just sad. And going back to Charles, the one who cheated.
Okay.
When he gets paired with Angela,
oh my god,
it is like sparks light up, like the world align, stars align. It's so crazy, and it's just, this is what we're gonna see in this season is these couples just like their eyes opening in different ways. And
when I saw that, I didn't want to say, but I was like, one's a cheater, always a cheater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think he's kind of hypocritical because he was like,
he's
look, I
fixing
really,
cheating.
really want to commit to Kenya and I love her. I want to make this work. The first thing he says when Angela walks in the room is like, that's a beautiful woman. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's been 3 seconds. Like, compose yourself.
he goes, they really picked the best house for me, or what did he?
Yeah, he said that.
Oh, we picked God's plan. That's why we picked God's plan.
Yeah.
Oh my god. He was like, God put this here for me. I was like, give me a break. Like, oh my god. And I just don't understand. They're like fixing cheating with cheating, right?
Well, that's the funny thing. Actually, Rosalind and Bobby were with Bobby's parents and Rosalind's sister, and I think it was Bobby's mother or father who was like, "That sounds like swinging to me. That doesn't sound like a healthy therapy session." Which I think you were talking about earlier. You're not sure if you really feel like this is a therapy.
Yeah, they kept saying switch therapy, and I was like, how is this therapy? Like, this is the opposite, I feel like, of therapy.
But you know, I will play devil's advocate here and just say that maybe this really is an opportunity for them to see like what are they missing from their current spouse that they don't have with this new person that they're with, because inevitably there's going to be something that happens where they're going to be like, oh dang, well the person I'm with right now for real, they really do this better than
totally. And I kind of build off of that is that we're always saying like, oh, I want somebody who does this, but with this comes this and that and that and that and that, and so then you're like, oh, I want somebody that's more motivated, but then they're married to their jobs, then so it's kind of finding that balance. And I think that what they say, like the grass is greenest where you water it.
That's it.
And I think,
I
think a lot of people are just like, ugh, I'm bored. It's the same person for years. And then you kind of.
Well, that's marriage. So.
It is, but you have to do things to constantly try and like rev it up and keep it interesting and keep it spicy.
Well, I have a question for you guys. So, do you think that 2 weeks is enough time? Because we all know, like, even the first couple of years is like super honeymoon stage. So these people are going to be goo gagaing over these people they get into this house with. I feel like. Like, how do you think you can even feel actually, never mind, I don't like you, even though you're supposed to be the perfect match for me?
Yeah, I don't think that 2 weeks is a long enough time at all, just because like I did a reality show and it was for like 8 weeks, and when you're in it for that long, you don't know what's up and what's down. 2 weeks, you're still like, I got this. I know who I am. I know what everything is. I'm good. You don't go a little kooky until like week 5 or 6. So.
I will say though, and I'm not sure about your experience, but if they have no contact with the person they've been living with for over 7 years for 2 full weeks, that's gonna definitely take a toll on them. And I think that it will be challenging, and they will come to miss their spouse. Although the preview would have us believe different for the rest of the season, I think that these people are really going to miss their spouses. But that's predictions, and I want to talk about the last couple, which is Reese, who is so attractive. Oh,
is it the accent that got you?
Yeah. No, everything. I was just like, okay.
Yeah, I
and Diane, Reese and Diane, we cannot forget about Diane. And they are definitely struggling with, I guess, motivation. Diane is super into her work, and she sees so much potential in Reese, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but she has a lot of high hopes for Reese that she doesn't think he's meeting. And the experts say it's so unfortunate when you marry somebody with the hope that you're marrying into their expectations of them, but you're really just marrying the person. What do you guys think about that?
There was something that stood out to me, and it was the way they categorized this couple, with Diane being the alpha and Reese being the peacekeeper. Like, in theory, that sounds like that should work complementary, because they might have some opposing personality traits that would work well together. But as we can see, we have some issues.
Yeah, kind of like whenever it comes to one being more alpha and one more nurturing, the nurturer will nurture, but if that nurturer doesn't get nurtured back, they shrivel up and die. And so similar with the alpha. They want to be leader.
Which is why I think it'll be interesting that Reese is with Rosalind, because Rosalind is very emotional and she feels emotionally unattached from Bobby. So then it's going to be Rosalind and Reese. That's a nice alliteration. And then Bobby and Diane, which I'm a little worried about, because Bobby was like, I'm
so
way more attracted to her than I should be at this point. And I was like, all right, this is not foreboding well. This is not a good situation. I think you're right. They're going to be goo goo gaga over each other because they literally get a new wife or husband for the first time and however.
It's exciting.
You're saying it exactly right, because it's not like they're just, hey, we're going to start like dating other people. They're getting rings. They're putting on new rings for these people.
Oh my God.
They're married. We're married now. That's it. You know, and it just makes it a whole
take that ring
new
and
dynamic.
there we go.
other end.
Speaking of rings, Charles wasn't even wearing one. And I was like,
Bad news.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
He called it. He did in the beginning.
Dang.
That's not surprising. No.
well, to his credit, and we're going to talk about this now because moving on, but before we get there, I know you have a live read that you want to do, Sean.
Absolutely.
And I want to make sure that we get that out to our fans.
Let's hear it.
Fantastic. Well, hey, AfterBuzzers. Our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows. From dramas, reality, TV, sci-fi, and more, there is no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about those pesky notifications, don't be, because they're optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments and we'll thank you on air. For now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
Oh, yeah. And Haley's monitoring those comments on the couch. So seriously, if we have a live chat going, we are on YouTube. We're live streaming. So make sure you're commenting, guys. If you have any, comments on the actual episode, we'd love to hear your opinions. But let's get into our second topic, which is the experts. And as we were saying, Charles was not wearing his wedding ring. And some people are like, well, that's a huge red flag. But to his credit and to their credit, they had been separated for 5 months because he cheated, but it's fine. Him and Kenya are living in different homes.
Yeah. Right.
So when the experts, Charles Orlando and then Dr. Jessica Griffin came into their home, they were very shocked, and that was a huge red flag. So what do you think that the roles of these experts are going to be, and like how they're going to really influence these couples?
I think it's just going to be somebody to talk to and kind of, how are you feeling? Okay, let's talk through that. And then also I'm sure they're going to have him do all sorts of crazy intimacy exercises and things like that. They do weird stuff like that.
Well, I think it really is interesting to me because I had never heard of this kind of therapy until this show came out. So I think it's nice to have these experts.
Too mainstream.
I think
alternative.
It's nice to have these experts on here that it's almost like it's just a scientific experiment, and it's a new thing that we're going to try and see if it actually helps people. And I'm just curious to see more.
You know, another thing that we were watching, and Dr. Jess Griffin, the female therapist, she talks about how one of the couples is sleeping in different beds in different houses, and she just says couples shouldn't be sleeping in separate beds. She literally says that, but then her whole idea of switch therapy is going to sleep with another partner. So that is just confusing to me. But another thing, I love like the 5 love languages. Have you ever heard of that? So I read this whole book. It was so cool. And I'm like, why does nobody find out what their love language is, and why is nobody feeding that? Like,
Oh, that will be in there, I guarantee
you know
it.
what I mean? And I'm just hoping.
Can you educate us a little bit?
Oh, gosh.
For those of us who don't know, because
Okay.
some of us definitely don't know what our love language is.
Okay, so the love languages, there's 5. There's physical touch, there's gift giving, there's words of affirmation, there's
Doing favors.
doing
Acts of
favors,
service.
acts of service, and then
Quality time.
Quality time. Mine is for sure words of affirmation. So when I feel loved, and they do it by. So if you want to think about it and figure out what yours is, it's say your love tank, for instance, is empty. What does it take for somebody to fill it? So for me, it would be like, hey, you did such a good job on your show last night. I'm so proud of you. It was really great. And that would be, I'd be like, oh my God, he loves me so much. I'm so excited. Or like, you know what I mean? Or even just if somebody's is physical touch, it would be like, hey, honey, like, rubbing their shoulder or something, and he would feel loved. That's it. You know what I mean? And so it's just really cool to find out. And I'm with the communication and all these different problems that each couple is having, I'm just so curious as to why they're not figuring out what makes each person feel loved, and that is what's not being fulfilled here.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll probably see that in the coming episodes, like you
Yeah,
said.
I think
Actually,
so,
I think that the doctor. I mean, she has her degree in psychology. She definitely knows what she's talking about. I think it'll be interesting to have her contrasted with somebody who basically wrote a self-love book, or not a book about love, and proclaims himself as an expert in relationships. And I think it'll be cool to see the scientific and then also the more biological, I guess, like
Psychological?
No, because she has the psychological path and science behind it, and then I think he's kind of more real world and applies more
Emotional.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, like I liked it when he said something along the lines of like, if one person is saying what they want, but they don't feel like it's actually listening, and then the other person then is putting their own personal thought on it, and they're not doing it, then one person is always disappointed, and the other one just always feels bad.
Yeah.
Then they both just lose.
Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting. We kind of saw more of the experts when Rosalind and Bobby were saying, I believe it was Rosalind and Bobby, like, what are the issues with your relationship? And the man, Orlando, went with the woman, the wife, and then the Dr. Griffin went with the man.
Because they couldn't open up. Yeah.
So they went they went with the opposite sex. And maybe that's going to play out through the show, like the therapist or the expert that know of the opposite gender will gravitate more towards the opposite gender because maybe they feel more comfortable talking to somebody else. I don't know. That's just something.
Yeah, I think you see that in a lot of different reality shows. They seem to always have a duo of a male and a female for the doctors or the experts.
Yeah.
And then they'll all talk to all the different contestants, and people kind of get a.
Do you guys have a favorite expert so far?
I'm just not feeling Dr. Griffin, the
really?
female. I don't know. She threw me off when she was like, couples should not be sleeping in separate beds. But then this is the base of your experiment is sleeping with other people. Like I said,
the last straw.
But in her defense, the show doesn't necessarily promote them sleeping in the same bed. While the house is I think from the preview, only have one bed. That does not mean they have to sleep in that bed together.
Okay, but that's on purpose. Like you can't say that's not on purpose.
But they put the temptation there to kind of basically test them. You know, that's part of probably the experiment of this.
They happen to walk in the house and it's like, there's only one bed.
Because if you give somebody the option, you want one bed or 2 beds, you're going to be like, we should probably do the 2 beds, right? Because everybody's
That's not
constantly
interesting enough.
Yeah, and then you give somebody like, for example, the show that I did, you had one bed, you got married and you got one bed, and you you just committed to it.
That's true.
You know?
That is the
If it would have
point.
given me and the guy 2 beds, we would have maybe not done it, but, you know.
So a big, huge, like,
Gotta have fun somehow,
Maybe.
right? You know, I don't know. Just kidding. Just kidding.
to play like devil's advocate, you know, for me, because I'm like so against it or whatever. But
yeah.
you know, one thing, it's like the thought and the doctors, they say it's the thought of losing their partner. And for me, if I was to put myself in their shoes, that is what would really freak me out. And I even said that to them when we were watching.
Yeah.
It was like when they were saying their goodbyes and everybody was tearing up. I would have been like, yeah, forget it. I can't do
Right.
this. Like, I'm done.
Cut.
I can't. We're good. We're good
No,
now.
but I thought the same thing. Where I'm thinking like that is so that's sweet, but then that is just like pulling on like an evolutionary or like something kind of weird. What it be? It's like a weird instinct that you have
Yeah,
to
it's a
not.
biological
You're
instinct.
You're fearing losing your person, so you're not trying
Right.
necessarily to get like the best outcome. Now you're just like fearing rejection and abandonment.
That's true.
So then you're like.
Well, it was also
I do that
interesting to
sometimes.
see which couples kind of reacted more strongly. For example, Diane, you know, she pulled like a Lauren Conrad, had the black mascara running down her eye. And I was like, oh my
like that.
goodness,
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening, but you're immensely emotional. And then there are people like Charles who were like, bye, see ya,
Yeah,
have
Charles.
fun.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, so that kind of leads to the switch,
Yes.
which is our next
The
topic.
switch.
And the
I love the
switch.
switch.
The
It sounds like a movie title. Coming soon.
It is
to theaters.
actually. It is with Jason Bateman. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Yes.
Coming
And
soon
Mario.
to topic 3, the Switch.
There we go. We love it.
Nice.
So the switch is basically when the couples meet their new significant others, and you brought this up, Mackenzie, that they get new rings, which really alarmed me. So Kenya, who is married to Charles, is now with Tony. So refresher, Kenya is super religious. She also has a twin sister that totally threw me for a loop. They look identical. So they
Imagine if
probably
that's
are.
who he cheated with.
I would die. I would.
Oh.
Bye. That would be so bad. Okay. So,
I already think
Yeah,
it's
they
bye.
didn't say.
I'm
Yeah.
all done with this couple.
so Kenya and Tony are now together, and then Charles and Angela are together, and then Rosalind and Reese are together, and Bobby and Diane are together. And basically, the way that this show works in the latter half of the episode is we get to see their first introductions, and they're kind of feeling each other out and seeing, all right, do I like you? Not actually feeling each other out, guys.
Oh,
I
no.
saw that little
Oh, no.
eye roll.
Well, we
Wait
don't
a
know about
second.
Charles.
What about
Oh my
episode
god,
2?
I love how they're playing the sad music and like Charles is like sitting in the car like pumped up.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I know.
And he goes.
Everyone else is crying. And
She
he's
goes
like,
on
yeah.
him. She's like, okay, gives him another hug while he's in the car, and he's like, you're crazy. Like, get away from
Oh
me.
yeah, that was hilarious. That was a great nugget you just pulled. Yeah, for those of you if you didn't notice this, definitely go watch the episode back. Charles, like, his wife wants one more hug goodbye, and he's like, "Girl, we already did this 3 times. I don't need another hug from you. I am ready to go
No,
meet my
he's
new girl,
pumped up.
Angela."
God's
when you
plan was
see-
playing in his head.
Well,
It was. He's the one who said that.
Yeah.
He was like, it's God's plan.
Haley, what did you think when Charles saw Angela?
Oh my god, this guy, he lit up. His face lit up. He was like, okay, I love this. Like,
I think that is the relationship we're gonna have to look at the most.
Yes,
for.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
he already had a look of guilt. Like he was looking at her and he already was like, he had the confused
He's like,
eyebrows. He was like, yeah.
He's like, I know something's about to go down. And I think that at least he's self-aware. He knows what his problems are. But, you know, this could just be the way that the editing is working. We don't know what's going to happen. However, my senses are telling me, like you said earlier, once a cheater, always a cheater.
But he paired her up with Angela, right? Angela was like the diva. So you got to think if she's the diva,
yeah.
she may kind of like more of like a boss man. So she thinks that she wants this free spirit hippie, but when it comes down to it, she may actually want a guy with a little more
Well,
I don't know.
I'm actually
Are you a
interested in
diva? Is
something.
that
Not,
what-
no, I would be more of like the free spirit hippie girl that's
Yeah.
that's like a mess.
What worries me is that I think Charles
kidding.
and Angela are going to vibe. I feel as though Kenya and Tony are definitely going to miss their significant others. And part of the issue with Tony and Angela's relationship is that Tony is married to his work. He doesn't want to leave Virginia.
Right.
And Angela is like, boy, bye. We've
Yep.
been here for way too long. I'm not feeling this vibe anymore. And you can either come with me or I'm leaving. And I thought it was funny. She was like, we're either doing a long distance relationship or a long distance relationship.
There was no
that was
options.
tough. That was rough.
And he was like, well, I don't want a long distance relationship. Well, do you want
somebody's
your wife?
gonna have to give there? Why is like nobody's? I mean, we haven't gotten into the season, but somebody has to say. Somebody has to give.
Right.
Right.
Oh, somebody has to.
That's
if
like
you
a
want
Camila
this
Cabello song.
But we didn't get into they didn't get into why she wants to move, where she wants to move. It's
There's no
Well, I
opportunity.
I feel like there should be like
I have some inside scoop. We will be talking about that later with news. I know a little something because
Okay.
they're holding out on us. If you read about this show online, no spoilers. It's just a press releases that obviously the network Lifetime was giving out. But before we do that, we have a very special segment that I want to play, and I'm really excited for it. It's called A-OK or No Way.
A-OK or no way?
Wait, you sound
Goodness.
I love that. Okay.
That was not my voice, guys. Sorry. Steven, thank you.
All right.
So here's how the game works. I'm going to read off a scenario, and you're going to tell me, all four of you, if you think it's A-OK or no way in a relationship, like going forward with the relationship.
Here we
So
go.
bring it.
some of these are things that we're seeing on the show. Others
Oh, that
are
was
just
a cell
kind of
phone.
real relationship problems. All right, first one. Here we go. Cheating on a spouse.
No.
no way. No way.
Why? What?
Okay, but no. So my question is, can you get past that, like in a relationship?
Okay, I see where you're going here. Well, okay. I have read a lot of books and I've listened to a lot of podcasts about
Expert over there.
Not specifically about that because I'm totally against it, but I have heard of situations where in specific situations they can work it out and it does work.
You've
Would I
read it, but like,
advise
have you
it?
seen it?
I actually have seen it.
Yeah.
I have firsthand.
Yeah, there's always instances where they go through this big thing and because of it they're stronger, but I'm be damned if I'm ever gonna give that an okay
Yeah,
versus
no.
a no way.
No,
So
yeah.
You know
no
what?
way.
Something you just said reminded me. On the radio, I heard it once where sometimes cheating can actually help a relationship.
I heard that too.
Yeah.
No, I don't want
I'm
that.
going after my Cheaters Anonymous.
just looked at
It's
each
like their
other, we're like,
slogan.
Are we living in
But
like
I
a real-
remember
No.
hearing that. And that just
You
came up
heard
in my
it, but
head.
did
That's
you
like the
see
people who say drunk
No.
driving makes
I
you a
have-
better driver because you're more cautious.
All right, I'm gonna go on to the
You
next
can say
one.
anything.
On
next
to the
one?
next.
All right, the next one is not communicating because you're kind of like ashamed of whatever you want to communicate.
What? No.
Like
No way.
cheating?
What? No.
No.
No way.
No, not communicating. Like, I feel embarrassed about my inadequate job or something. So
Gotta be
I'm not
open.
going to
No.
communicate.
Lay it all out
No,
to me.
that's
Give
so
it to me
lame.
all.
That's
yeah.
so lame. No.
Yep.
So it's
We gotta-
a
we
no
gotta
way.
talk
We
about
got
it.
2 no ways here. All right. Well,
talk about
just
it.
to play devil's advocate, what if your spouse is like really judgmental and really?
Well, get the hell rid of
Well,
him.
then that's them.
but that's
Tell him. Tell him.
Sounds like an abusive relationship.
no. That's not a. If somebody's judgmental, maybe they just want. See,
Emotional
I think
abuse.
that kind of relates to Reese and Diane, where Reese definitely knows he is struggling in his career and I think he wants to do better and he says that he can do better and he's kind of been like slacking a little bit, but you know, Diane is like, hello, I have all these expectations for you and why aren't you
Well,
succeeding?
it's a no way because they're on the show and that's their problem.
This is true. This is true. All right, next one. Parenting your spouse. Is that ever
No,
okay?
no. What? What do you mean
I
parenting?
think some people are into that.
Like submissive and like
Yeah,
dominant.
something like that.
No, that's all like.
Yeah,
For example, like
I think-
I'm really nurturing, so I love to like be like, oh, let me.
But
help
you're
you
not their
out."
parent.
But I'm not gonna be like
So
naggy. It's naggy versus nurture.
So I was reading on Twitter a couple of people's reactions to the show, and somebody said about Rosalind and Bobby's relationship that Rosalind was kind of treating Bobby a little bit too much like her child. Like she was parenting him.
Yeah.
I think it was about Rosalind and Bobby, if I'm not mistaken.
I feel like in a certain situation, if you have to be the one to be like, hey, like that wasn't cool, don't act like that again, I didn't like that, and then they can, you know, say it to you sometimes, so you kind of learn from each other and more of a like, hey babe, hey buddy kind of thing,
there's
and
a
not like,
difference between like nurturing someone and like acting like they're a child.
yeah,
True.
So,
Well, what if they are a child?
well then you need to read.
boy, bye.
Yeah.
So I clearly there's a lot of boy bias situations in here. And then last one, you take a back seat for your career so your spouse can take the front seat in theirs.
I think that's great. I think that is so great.
So
sometimes.
that's A-okay?
Sometimes.
It should bounce back and forth.
Yes.
We need
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you mean? Like, you're gonna jeopardize your career for them? Or?
No, you're putting your career on the back burner, so that way you don't. Maybe you need to stay home, and if you wanna maybe raise a family, or you wanna make sure you're.
That's different.
That's
Raising
flow.
the family thing, I think, is different. I think it's more of like, hey, I'm gonna support you so you can go and work, and I don't know. Okay.
It all goes into values. Before you get married, you need to really lay out all of your values. You should know that regardless.
Okay, so here's an example, and this leads into our news that I found out about. So, turns out Tony and Angela want to start a family, but this was not brought up on the show yet. I'm sure we'll see it in the coming episodes. Tony and Angela are having a problem figuring out, where are we going to start a family? Because Angela wants to move. Tony's pretty set in stone and staying in Virginia. Angela feels like they can't start a family until they figure out where they're going to be. So I guess in that circumstance, she's almost pigeonholed to Virginia. She can't even, get a job because she doesn't want to work in Virginia. She doesn't want to be in Virginia at all. There are a lot of little nuggets out there like that. In addition, and you guys can tell me what you think about this because it kind of ties back to our special segment. Rosalind and Bobby. Rosalind's mother passed away. She was a single mother. And when Rosalind's mom passed away, she was like really upset and valued family and wants to, show her loved ones how much they mean to her, which probably is, what do you guys think? Like, why she's maybe super into the emotional connection and why she wants Bobby to open up more?
Makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Well, I think it's what you want in general. Like, I would think just... To me, I just think certain people just, you really value, like, the nurturing or the not, and it doesn't seem like she's nurtured back at all. But I think that's probably what you're saying as well.
Healthy balance is what I was going to say before, like earlier. It's healthy balance in every aspect, however that percentage works out.
All right, well, after this special segment of A-okay and no way, we had a lot of scenarios where it was boy bye. And so I want to get...
Or girl bye.
Or girl bye, yeah.
Thank you.
So...
Two sides.
I want to know what you guys think of this show so far. Predictions for the rest of the season. What couples do you think...
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Yeah, check it out.
What couples do you think will make it? And then what couples do you think will split?
Okay, off the bat, what's his name?
Charles.
Charles,
Charles
yeah.
gone. He's gone. They're done.
They're done.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did
Okay.
you see his face? Like,
Haley is not for Charles. It's fine.
No.
Neither am I.
No, like it's entertaining, but like, yeah, it's so clear to see. He's done.
But
Mackenzie,
if
what do you think?
he has an epiphany?
No.
Well, I was thinking that could happen because Angela may be like, I'm not handling your crap. And then he's like, oh my god, only my wife handles my crap.
I really think Reese and Diane will stay together. I do. I think they can work theirs
No,
out.
I don't know. She had a lot of tears. Like,
That's true.
I don't know.
That black mascara. That holds true.
LC coming through.
Nothing good happens with black mascara tears. I think that Tony and Angela really love each other, and I think that they will work it out. What bothers me is Tony, you gotta move. It's fine. You can do your job in other locations, and if she's been with you for
Got a pretty job.
7 years, yeah, but I mean there are other
I don't know.
locations.
She gives a very bad like ultimatum. I feel like she's like, you're moving or you're like.
He's
That's
gonna,
not fair.
He's gonna become resentful, don't you think?
Yeah.
that's a good
I'm
point.
kind of thinking of Bobby and Rosalind here. I feel like they're going to work it out. I don't know.
All right, so rundown.
Yeah.
Kenya and Charles, are they making it?
No.
No, don't think so. Tony and Angela?
Yes. One thing I want to point out there, you notice that when Kenya was moving in with Tony, he said something like, I hope I'm good enough for her. So that speaks to his insecurity, and maybe that's why he is a workaholic. So it all goes back to communication
That's
again.
true.
Insecurity, root of everything.
Rosalind and Bobby, are they making it?
I'm going to give him a yes. Yeah.
I feel like Rosalind might be like,
He is
I
kind
can't
of
do it
lame.
anymore. He's a little lame. I'm
He's
not
very
gonna
lame.
lie.
Yeah.
He's like
he
a
is
He's the
dog. Yeah.
least like shown. They don't
Yeah.
show him a lot.
But
He's lame.
but
That might-
maybe the new one will bring him out of his shell. Who knows?
That might be good for her as a caretaker though, because maybe she wants to be. She needs somebody like that in her life. Like I just feel like it.
But
it's
she's not doing a good
balance.
job. So
Yeah.
she feels like she's dying.
All right, last one. Reese and Diane,
hand on
are they
that.
making it?
Yes.
I think they'll make it.
I don't know. I'm gonna say no.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give
I
him a
don't
yes.
know. I
Well,
don't
we'll
know.
see, won't we?
think
Yeah, we
Yeah.
will see because we are here every Wednesday, 8 p.m. We are talking 7-year switch. Keep it here every Wednesday. You know you love it. You know you want to watch it. Okay, more from you, or more from us next week. I'm Caroline Fair, and you can follow me at Caroline J. Fair.
And I'm Ashley Lauren. You can find me at Kinda Kind with Ashley Lauren.
And I'm Sean Paul Payton. You can find me everywhere as at Sean Paul Payton.
And I'm Mackenzie Fain. You can find me on Instagram at Mackenzie Fain.
And I'm Haley Catino. You can find me on Instagram at Haley Catino.
Woohoo! That's all of us. See you guys next week. Keep watching and subscribe to AfterBuzz. Bye!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.